Back at the crib. So I'm gonna take off as much of the parts that I think are swappable before actually going to the yard, because I was planning on going to the yard today. But I'd like to not waste my time and really see what can or can't I switch over. So I'm really curious about this oil pan. And so I think that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to attack today. And then I would like to finish the timing on that. I'm just letting those bolts sit with a little bit of PB blast on them. Hopefully that'll do something. And then I'll probably have to pull the exhaust manifold on that thing to get this one's motor mount on it. I'm not sure if that's going to work, but the block appears to have the holes for it. I just don't know about the routing or anything. Otherwise, I'll probably go head to the yard, find a Passat with the 1.8, and grab some parts off of that thing. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to pull this stuff. I'm going to see if this pan will swap, because if the pan swaps, that saves me a big headache. And yeah, that's kind of it for today. So watch me pull an oil pan. So thankfully, they're 10 mil. So I'm going to put this thing, oh, come on. So pretty straightforward. Just put her in there. Give her the full send. No, these are not impact safe sockets. The extender is, but the sockets aren't. So I'm going to be a little careful with that. Nope, that is a bolt, but I'm going to let that one just chill. I'm going to get this one up in there. Nice. You're probably wondering, oh, Austin, you just went to Harbor Freight and bought that engine stand. Why isn't it together? Well, that's a great question. And I'm just not feeling that right now. So I'm going to keep pulling this thing apart on here. I know this is not a safe way to do this, but it seems to be going okay for now. Oop. All right, I'm gonna put you guys down and drop the rest of this thing. All right, hopefully y'all can see that. If not, sorry, I'll do better next time. So I do want to keep track of these bolts, but those are the other oil pan ones. Okay. So the goal here is to not drop the oil pan or let it hit the ground too hard. Is there a bolt back there? Yes, there is. Ooh. Okay, yeah, this is where the engine stand would be a good time. But choices were made. You just gotta roll with it. So that one does not have something in there. Yeah, I think there's only a few holding this thing together, so that one's still in. Yep, this one. Should be one more, yep. Nope. Yep. All right. So, got one more, two more. All right, so I think that's about it. we go. Interesting. It's a off center bolt pattern. Put this somewhere safe. So let's check for those other bolts. Aha! Yep, I had a feeling. Otherwise, I would have busted that thing right off. Wouldn't be the first time. Oh yeah, she's about to go. Get my other hand ready. And let's catch it on the way out. Look at that. Nice. So working on this Audi 2.0 turbo engine. Don't worry, I will plant a tree for every gallon of oil and coolant spilled. But I pulled the oil tube pickup, right? And I was like, oh, that's fine. But looking closer at it, there was hair. There's hair in this thing. Like, hair. So I don't know if this was like some dude that pissed off his girlfriend or something, but I mean, that's nuts. It's out of an oil pickup. So, oh yeah, that's some good carnage right there. Yes, it's probably safe to say this motor is destined for the scrapyard. Alrighty, so this is the 1.9. I was gonna remove the flywheel, but I realized without the timing belt attached, that's near impossible. So it's time to time it. So I'm gonna get the rest of these components out, put the new water pump idlers in there, get this thing timed up, and then I should be able to get the flywheel out. So those look like 12s. So look at that, timing belt is on, timed and tight. That was such a pain, but it's done. So I didn't really show you guys that because I was learning as I went, because I've never done a timing belt on a 1.9 before, which apparently you need to look through a hole in the transmission where you're supposed to line up the flywheel, which, well, this doesn't have a transmission on it. So I had to do something a little more old-fashioned to make sure everything's at top dead center. So I did that, got to throw the vacuum pump back on it, the crank pulley and a few other things, then we should be good to go. So it's kind of fun. A bunch of my neighbors have been stopping by, wondering how my project's going, because there's always car parts, cars and their projects just sitting around. So everybody's been, thankfully pretty respectful, very curious, but every once in a while you get one or two that are, a little bit questioning, like, oh, why is this here, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm not running a business out of here. I'm just like working on my own stuff. So right to repair, y'all. So I am going to yoink that flywheel off pretty soon after I put the vacuum pump in the rear coolant flange back in. Swap flywheels, try to figure out the motor mount situation. So I have a feeling I might have to go grab some mounts from a Passat from the junkyard, because those support the 1.8 in the front wheel or all-wheel drive configuration. Probably should drain the oil out of this thing before I pull the pan, or if I'm feeling really dangerous, I'll just pull the pan with the oil and then dump it. But it's coming along. After putting the timing belts on there, I always like to spin the motor around by hand with a breaker bar just to make sure, everything's good, no collisions. So I made it 2 rotations, and you can feel it's still got a pretty good amount of compression. So that makes me feel good, because I, again, don't know if this motor runs or not. But y'all will figure it out when I do. All right, so that's a wrap for today. She's timed, almost ready to go in. Just got to figure out the motor mount issue and switch over the oil pans, if that'll work. Cut the flywheel off. That took forever. They are different size flywheels, so I'm going to be swapping that as well. And we're chugging along. Day 3. So I'm going to hopefully finish this thing up within a week or so, because my neighbors are probably pissed of seeing my car parts everywhere. Yeah. All right. See you guys tomorrow or whenever. All right, bye.